How's it going, everybody? It is Sandwich Pants here today, and today I actually have two things I want to hit. First is some technically breaking news 4 hours ago, and the other one is going over some of this man right here, President Nayib Bukele, if that's how you say his name. I don't know how you would say it. He's the president of El Salvador, and he is asking Congress formally to approve a leave of absence over the next few days to allow him to run for re-election as president of El Salvador again next year. That is technically the breaking news. I do not know uh, anything about the guy, honestly. So I've got a couple of videos pulled up over here on the side. These two other tabs. One of them was 6 months ago, and one of them was 5 months ago. So we'll see. 66,000 in prison, how El Salvador is fighting gang violence, and El Salvador president claims victory against gangs after crackdown. So I kind of want to see. This is a 5 minute video from the Wall Street Journal. I will be adding in commentary onto the video as well, what I think about the entire thing. So it's not just I'm not just going to be having the content, but I will be talking about how I feel about this because there's some mixed opinions I would have on this kind of thing. So let's go.
This footage shows El Salvador's answer to gang violence. Thousands of alleged gang members stripped down to expose their tattoos in a brand new mega prison set to house 40,000 inmates.
Todos estos pandilleros terroristas no van a regresar nunca a las comunidades.
Gangs turned El Salvador's murder rate into one of the highest in the world. And to end this cycle of violence, the country's president, Nayib Bukele, ordered a crackdown in March last year, arresting more than 66,000 people since then. Communities say the streets are safer, but
Okay, so I already know how this is kind of gonna end up. It's going to start a cycle that is kind of similar to what we see in America. Now, MS-13 is a little bit different, but the issue, the underlying causes of gangs is pretty much universal. Generally, poverty and bad conditions, and growing up in an area where gangs generally start to form, and then you get indoctrinated into the gang. Some people will be successful in that gang the higher up they are, and it just becomes a cycle. People getting parents getting arrested for being in a gang, and now cracking down on 66,000 at once is kind of nuts. That may actually be enough of a deterrence to break this particular gang. However, it will not break a cycle. You have to address the underlying causes. You have to improve those communities. That's a big deal.
rights groups and some residents argue that this change has come at a high price, that innocent men and women and even minors have been rounded up and held indefinitely without access to lawyers.
Que es un crimen de lesa humanidad.
I'm here in El Salvador to gauge the impact of this effort, what it means for families and communities, and for a
They're absolutely right about that, though. I'm gonna speed this up to 1.5, but they are absolutely right about that. It's a crime against humanity. They, for one, not giving people access to lawyers. I mean, I know it's not like standard procedure everywhere, but it honestly really should be. Um, um, on top of that, arresting minors and potentially innocent people and just holding them without access to lawyers, without uh any like set trial date or anything like that, that is also pretty bad.
De lesa humanidad.
I'm here in El Salvador to gauge the impact of this effort, what it means for families and communities, and for a Central American country that
Now, don't get me wrong, there has to be something done about a gang like MS-13, but I'm not 100% sure that that's the right way to go about it. Is this really still dropping frames over here? I've got an excellent connection. Got stable bitrate. Yeah.
that has been gripped by gang violence for decades, stoking both poverty and migration towards the US. In El Salvador, a country the size of Massachusetts and with a population of 6.3 million, the violence has been blamed on the MS-13 and the 18th Street gangs, groups that originated among Salvadorans in the US in the 1980s. They terrorized communities for decades in El Salvador, demanding weekly extortion payments from business owners and imposing curfews. In 2015, El Salvador's murder rate was over 100 per 100,000 people. But by 2022, officials said the number went down to 7.
Yeah, formation and spread of MS-13 was definitely a major problem. MS-13 was not good in any regard. They didn't even start out like most other gangs, from what I understand. Like, I know that from what I've heard and read about both the Crips and the Bloods, is that they split off. They were subgroups that came away from the Black Panthers. Uh, you know, a while back, and both of them were like both gangs were focused on improving their communities. Like, I believe Crip was Community Revolution in Progress, and Blood was Brotherly Love Overcoming Our Oppression. Now, where it has ended up, pretty fucked, but the initial intentions are good. I don't think that was the case for uh, MS-13. I do not think they had good intentions. Ah, god damn it. There we go. Let me improve my lighting situation in here. Alright, how's that gonna work? Boom. Boom. Yeah, that'll work. So, from my understanding of the issue, MS-13 was born from an entirely different motive.
0.8.
En el país, donde antes era común encontrar cadáveres en el suelo, y vean cuántos homicidios hay ahora. Días, semanas enteros sin homicidios.
President Nayib Bukele imposed a state of emergency where lawmakers suspended constitutional guarantees allowing soldiers to raid communities in search of anyone with suspected gang ties. The mass arrests gave El Salvador the world's highest incarceration rate, as 1% of the national population has been put behind bars over the past year. As a result of the crackdown, gang members are no longer prevalent in communities. Small businesses can now operate without fear and at any time of the day without having to pay high extortion fees. But the offensive fractured many of the poorest households. Tens of thousands of young children have had at least one parent or caregiver detained under the declared state of emergency.
That right there is the big issue right now here in America, or one of the big issues right now in America. It's the carceral state. And if this goes the way that America goes, it's going to just continue being a major issue. So, having a crackdown on the gangs and then bringing and revitalizing these communities and actually doing restorative and rehabilitative measures instead of retributive measures against gang members is absolutely the best way to go about it. I'm not under the impression that President Bukele is going to do that. I have a feeling that it's going to be essentially a massive labor camp, the way that our prison system is today. That's definitely bad.
Ana Mancia says her 4 adult children were working as street vendors when they were detained last year.
Todavía pandilleros por acá. No, aquí ya no, gracias a Dios ya no. Pero es triste eso, saber, no puede saber de sus hijos ya un año, no sé nada de ellos.
She was left to take care of 6 grandchildren. None of them go to school, and Ana struggles to feed them. Families like Ana's can't afford legal representation. Alejandro Diaz Gomez is a nonprofit attorney. He advises 250 families of detainees who he says are wrongfully held.
Ha sido imposible, ¿verdad?, para las familiares de los detenidos hablar, ¿verdad? Con autoridades. Entonces no hemos tenido una respuesta. Claro, ¿verdad? Que hay una necesidad de querer solventar, ¿verdad? Toda esta historia de violencia contra de nuestra misma población, pero puede haber seguridad, ¿verdad?
True, there's no security when there's a violation of human rights. Now, I have heard some people who claim to be anarchists say that there's no such thing as human rights, because human rights are only upheld by the state. I've also heard far-right people saying essentially the same thing, except in reverse. Not that it's upheld by the state, but that you don't actually have rights, or that you shouldn't have most of your rights. And that the only reason you could have them is through violence. And I reject this notion. Partially because if people just respected human rights, we could probably have an anarchist society pretty fucking quick. However, because of these dumb fucks and pseudo-anarchists, we're stuck. We don't get hardly any progress because we have people who fight against human rights because they don't believe in them. And that's just fucked up.
Con violación a derechos humanos.
Rights groups say people are locked up in crowded cells with little food while they wait indefinitely for trial. This man told us his two sons were arrested during the crackdown last year.
De 1000 terroristas que él dice que agarran, a lo mucho son 100 pandilleros y los otros 900 son gente inocente que no tienen nada que ver con pandillas.
El Salvador's security minister, Gustavo Villatoro, denied allegations of human rights abuses and arbitrary detention.
Oh, the state denies human rights abuses? Of fucking course they do. It's the state. They do it every time. However, as everybody knows, states will lie their ass off to protect their own interests. There's definitely been human rights abuse here. There's probably been some severe, almost war crime levels abuses going on here. Like, this doesn't look good.
Adding that all gang members will spend the rest of their lives behind bars.
Yep, so not restorative, just retributive. Yep, so the cycle continues now in El Salvador.
More than a year into the crackdown, President Bukele's approval rating is at a record high. Polls at the start of the year showed more than 90% of Salvadorans are happy with the president's security effort. And El Salvador's model has drawn the attention of other Latin American countries gripped by violent crime, such as Ecuador and Honduras. Political analysts say the crackdown's popularity could pave the way for Bukele to seek re-election next year. While the country's constitution does not allow a president to have consecutive terms in office, he has said he plans to run again.
Okay. I don't like that. Especially that ending bit. Okay? I really don't. Go over here. Let's see what's going on. I'm going to do the same thing. This one's a lot shorter. I'm still going to put it at 1.25 speed. Country's constitution says the president can't have consecutive terms. Trying to just go around that because you have a high approval rating? I mean, you'd have to amend the constitution. And if you do that, fine. I still don't like the idea that you would do that just to retain power, but that's a different matter. Just saying you're going to ignore that and go for it again, that kind of seems not so good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to watch this, and then I'm going to read a Wikipedia article. I'm going to kind of speed read it and summarize.
It was a martial spectacle for a man who's declared he's winning a war against El Salvador's gangs. Nayib Bukele's speech to the nation marked his 4th anniversary as president. Most of it was focused on what's become his signature policy.
Now, the state of exception approved by Congress has finally allowed...
He's hot. He looks good. That's a problem.
...us to enjoy peace. 4 years later, we're not the same. Now, at last, Salvadorans can think of more than not being killed.
Yeah, he looks good.
These are the images he'd like you to see from the last 14 months, in which a state of exception has given security forces free rein to arrest and imprison people. The new maximum security
I didn't see a tattoo on that guy's body at all. Still arrested him. Yeah, no.
prison is full, and neighbourhoods which were once gang strongholds now springing to life. Bukele's approval ratings have shot up as the murder rates have plunged. Many are grateful for respite from the killings, rapes and extortion. But a report came out this week too, from one of El Salvador's best-known human rights organisations. It tells another story of the crackdown.
It paints a picture of a penal justice system that is no longer a penal justice system. It's more of a type of a concentration camp in which soldiers and police, prison guards and attorney generals decide who goes free, who stays in prison, who lives, who dies, and torture at their pleasure.
The report...
Oh yeah, that doesn't look good. That definitely doesn't look good. And if what he says is even half true, that's a major fucking issue.
Alleges there have been widespread beatings, torture, and more than 150 people who've died in El Salvador's prisons since March 2022.
We've documented multiple cases of death simply because they weren't able to have access to medical care to treat the wounds. An example is of a man who was beaten in his torso so badly that his stomach filled with blood and he couldn't eat anymore and ended up dying of starvation.
Holy fuck. If that's true, then... oh my god. You can't do that. That is actual, like... that is criminal. You can't just do that to people.
And anybody in the wrong place at the wrong time could enter that world. Under the state of exception, security forces can arrest people merely on suspicion of having committed an offence. Police have admitted they have quotas. Once in prison, Christosal says detainees can be held for up to 2 years before trial. But those criticisms don't appear to worry President Bukele or his supporters. Re-election, they chanted. Through it all, the presence of the army, both inside and outside Congress, was as significant as his words.
This feels fashy, you know? Just this entire thing.
Giving no doubt about who's in near total control of El Salvador. John Holman, Al Jazeera.
Yeah, that just seems like really fashy. Pretty fucked up overall. So let's go ahead and check the Wikipedia here. Nayib Bukele. Come on. First president. So. Not to have been elected as a candidate of one of the country's two major political parties. So he's not from the left wing or the right wing one. Grand Alliance for National Unity. Okay, so let's see. Populism, big, center, democratic. So he's right. Jesus Christ. Okay. Yep. No. No. The third way is a fucking, yep, conservative. It's supported by conservatives abroad. Party's primary platform is combating corruption. Yeah, it's a personality. So, yeah. Straight nationalism. Okay. Who do they side with? Center to center. So the centrist party, a split from the centrist party to be what seems to be a right-wing nationalist party. The coalition to, yeah, so he's, what did I say, y'all? What did I tell you? We are currently in absolutely fascist territory. Yeah, he was. Now, why was he expelled? That's the question. Why did he get expelled from the... Right? U.S. has lost the monuments of democracy and bring a third elections. No? Yeah, so he's a right winger. This guy is definitely a right winger. I don't think I'm fucking that funny, and I don't ever want to get an answer like that. Like, we have not lost the argument. Our democracy is free and fair. And that we have a democracy. It may be flawed, but we have one. So, yeah. Right. Salvador. Okay. Yeah. This one's pretty fucking classic for a fascist, alright? Be a member of a left-wing party, get expelled for doing some dumb shit, and then trying to just claim that the tribunal or whoever was going to try you was biased. That is classic. That's pretty much what Mussolini did. That's definitely what Hitler did. It's what Trump has been doing. So he's popular, but he's definitely right-wing, which, I mean, kind of tracks. At least as far as what I've been able to tell with these leaders. Both by both right and left. Representation of national civil police, blown, and intimidate legislators. Oh my god. Yeah, using the military to intimidate legislators to force them to do. Yeah, he's a fucking fascist. Okay. The United States has been cited as an democratic backsliding. Yep. Fascist. That's why he said the U.S. has lost the argument again for democracy and free and fair elections. Because they're like, what the fuck is this? Wait, hold on. The party won a majority of seats in the Legislative Assembly in the 2021 legislative elections, and on May 1st, 2021, made a coalition with 3 other political parties gaining control of 2/3 of the legislature. On the same day, the Legislative Assembly voted to remove the 5 justices of the Supreme Court's Constitutional Court. And while, okay, yeah, so that he could change the Constitution to be able to run for president again, so that he could actually, like, fully go fascist. So weird. I just keep, like, randomly dropping frames and shit. But it's okay. Adoption of Bitcoin. Secret negotiated deal with Mara, sell the food stuff. Okay, but then that's 13, which stipulated the government granting the gang more flexible prison conditions for members and other promises in exchange for the gang pledging to reduce the number of murders in the country and to support the political party during the upcoming 2021 elections, similar to the gang crews formulated by President Mauricio Funes from Funes? There's supposed to be an Enya over here, or is they just... Okay. Just took a bajillion years. Alright, so we gotta go back to recording, because apparently ending training kills the recording process. So just do that right there. I should not be dropping any frames, but I'm not training. So yeah, he got accused of coordinating with gangs. He denied the allegations, shared photos of prison from that April, which showed gang members signed up in cramped conditions. Investigation, suspicions of money laundering. Oh my fucking god. On December 8th, 2021, the U.S. Department of Treasury accused him of secretly negotiating with MS-13 and 18 Spring Gang to lower murder rates in the country. The department sanctioned Osiris Luna Mesa, Vice Minister of Justice and Public Security, and Carlos Marroquin Chica, chairman of its Social Fabric Reconstruction Unit, alleging that they repeatedly negotiated with the gang. Bukele rejected the accusation, stating the United States sought absolute submission from El Salvador instead of cooperation. Deny, 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 deflect, deny, accuse, deny. Yep, that's exactly what you can expect. Okay. On 26th March 2022, El Salvador reported 62 murders committed in a single day, the deadliest day in Salvadoran history in 30 years since the end of the Civil War. Bukele fought the International Commission Against Impunity in El Salvador, and on September 6, 2019, the institution's purpose is to combat a variety of crimes, including drug trafficking, corruption, and other white-collar crimes. He also established anti-corruption unit within the National Civil Police, which would cooperate directly with CIA. United States and current Minister of Scientific officials were Rogelio Rivas, Guillermo Gallegos, Jose Luis Moreno, Frido Reyes, and Carolina Vecina. Placed under house arrest on suspicions of electoral fraud and illegal negotiations with gangs to gain votes for Arena. Fucking really, dude. Five years ago, withdrew from the Organization of American States and before. Yeah. Which is to get to be the Legislative Assembly of Conspiracy of the Legislative Assembly of conspiracy against the political institution for allegedly being bribed with perks such as U.S. citizenship by the Embassy of the United States in San Salvador and the way Garcia, a local opponent of his presidency. Wow. Deputies Garcia and the U.S. Embassy negotiated an agreement to fracture the 15 to 25 deputies from the party to oppose Chile's political agenda in the Legislative Assembly. Both deputies were subsequently ousted from Buenos Aires. Amidst an ongoing investigation into the incident, the U.S. Embassy denied the allegation, Nayib Bukele and Buenos Aires, stating that none of its representatives were on the audio recording. This one is a little bit more ambiguous because the U.S. would do something like this. It's been known to happen. So, could be that they did. I don't know. To guarantee the security of national sovereignty and social political stability of the country, they stated that the law was modeled on the United States Foreign Agents Restriction Act, but critics have compared it to various Nicaraguan laws which institute press censorship by shutting down organizations and arresting journalists. Of course it does. Maduro. Be dictators. Maduro kind of is, but you know, refuse to recognize the presidency of Peru. Describing the government as actually don't know what this is. Okay. I don't know much about the Nicaraguan general election. Recognition of we are in the public. Don't know nothing about that. Okay. Maduro is a president. Walk right out. Didn't he take the country by force? Yeah, and he was backed by... No. No. Guaido was not the legitimate president. Pretty sure. Right. To a second presidential term, yeah. Yeah. He just tried to take the fucking presidency. Yeah, consistently rejected his claim to the presidency and continued to recognize Maduro. Failed to remove Maduro from power. Now, I don't like that part. Ah, crap. Security forces denied Guaido and opposition lawmakers access from parliament making sense after the Guaido National Salvation Agreement proposed negotiation with Maduro with a schedule for free and fair elections with international support. Yeah, that's right. See, I was right. I remembered. So he recognized Guaido and was wrong. Because of course he was. Yep, signed a deal with China to stop recognizing Taiwan as a country, and now he's trying to run again for president. Yep. Alright, I think with all that, with all the information we have, I can firmly say that he pulled the classic fascist. Ran as a left-winger to get up popular social cred, become a cult of personality, do something to get expelled from the left-wing government, create his own party. That's exactly what Mussolini did with the fascist party in Italy. And then now he's trying to essentially stranglehold the government with his party. He's got complete control over that party, and he is trying to put himself back into power as president, even though the Constitution forbids him from running again consecutively. He would have to wait for another president to take power, and then he could come back. He removed the 5 justices for the Constitution, the Supreme Court justices for the Constitution, so that he could appoint his own people and rewrite the Constitution the way he wants. He has increased militarization and done crackdowns on regular civilians that are innocent, and has done abuses against people that he has had arrested. He has collaborated with other fascists. It's a common standard tactic for a lot of fascists. Hell, even Donald Trump voted for Democrats and stuff for a large portion of his life and built up a large base of support, and then came out as a Republican. It's not that unheard of. It's honestly very common. So, I am now very worried for El Salvador in the coming future. That I was prompted to look at all of this because a coworker of mine was talking about his crackdown of MS-13, but we didn't really know the details, so I decided to go ahead and take a look, and that's what we've got. Turns out the guy is actually really fucking bad. Alright, well, I hope you all enjoyed this video that was supposed to be coming out of stream. I know it's kind of stuff, but we're gonna make it work. If you did like the video, hit the like button. It's right there. And while you're hitting that like button, the button right next to it, the one that says subscribe, you should totally hit that one too, y'all. Alright, take care.